You know it's hard out here for a pimp.
Put out there, people, like, the guy's a good guy. He's a really good guy. I mean, I'm not saying he probably doesn't I mean, he probably dabbles in some illegal activities. But he said law enforcement knows all about that. He doesn't have any I mean, he's not like, nothing like serious stuff, but, I mean, he's not like a Mr. Innocent or anything, but he was not, he was real, I mean, he's just a real nice guy. His wife, described him like, as a, doormat. I'm like, oh, sounds familiar. She said that she's always getting on him about people using him and advantage of him. Anything for anybody, you know? So everybody needs to toughen up a little bit. Use as the excuse that Ziggy said, like, hey, be like, hey, Ziggy said, that you wouldn't mind if I stopped by or whatever. He's, you know, and if he doesn't feel like talking, how to know if he's there is look in his driveway. You'll see a truck, other little area that someone and his ex-wife used to live on that property. He said, I go, even that there's a sign? He said, yeah. I'm like, well, I guess, you know, they say he was holding a sign trying to sell his son when he was a baby, so I guess it's not too far-fetched, I guess. But, and then he said about the Rose Bly thing, or actually, I didn't talk to him, I don't think, about Rose Bly, but I did his wife, because the first time I went, he wasn't there, so I came back later. She said that she could have swore that Rose lived down there for a short time, like a long time ago, but I will say this, and this is all I'll say about this, because he's been very beneficial to the investigation for law enforcement, I'll just say that. He remembers everything from the day Summer went missing, except one thing he says that bugs him. And has bugged him ever since. He said there was a truck that pulled in. And the afternoon, or I guess, I don't know, it would have been afternoon, I think, earlier afternoon. When the day Summer went missing. If you get to Fred's, where Fred's at, oh shit, call, dang it, it's gonna, come on. Whatever you say, holler, whatever, holler. It's like the second to the last house. And go by there that often. And one thing that stuck out in his mind, which of course I have everything like recorded, but hopefully I listened back to a little bit of it and I noticed it was quiet. I'm hoping I can intensify the sound a little bit. One thing that stuck out in his mind though, was that he was working on a vehicle near the end of his drive. Like, I guess it would have been afternoon time. And there was a truck that came by, that drove by, he said, and it was sitting, it was his driveway, which was really, one house, like, after it, and it would be a very odd place, like, you bet that the truck, like, was turning around, like, because a lot of people, he said, like, if they go down that far, a lot of times they'll go down to the last house and turn around, because it's a very narrow road. Really narrow, especially closer to and a truck passed. He said the one thing I cannot remember is I cannot think of what kind of truck that was, or who was driving it. I think he said it was some man. I had it recorded, but that's not it. He said that the person was sitting down there in this truck. He thought at first that they were going to turn around, and then when they turned around and just waited, he thought that the people thought, like, or the person that was driving thought that that Fred was getting ready to leave, and thought maybe the guy was like waiting for him to let him pull out just to be nice or something. But no, like, the guy never like moved, and he didn't really think much of it, so he just left over to his mom's, which was down at a little bit of, you know, I don't know how far up, you know, towards, you know, Donna Candace's, but nowhere near it, but it's towards that way. He went over there, left to his mom's in his truck, and he was at the end of his mom's driveway working on something down by the road. And he started to think, like, he remembered that truck never left. The truck never left. And then he saw a car. I forget what color of car he said, but he remembers like the color of the car. He even remembers it was a girl, a young girl, around 18, or he said that she looked like she was like 18 or 19 years old. And he described her, even described her hair as sandy blonde. She then drove by. His mom's is even way down there too. I mean, his mom's is just like the next one up from his, like when you're going out of the holler. Next one or next, it's not far up. 65, and even though that might sound close to 110, it's really not, because there's a lot of space in between each property. So then he sees that girl pull in. But wait, there's more back there. And then I don't know, you'll hear him describe it. It probably, I'm not a very good storyteller. He sees Andy pull in. Jodisue's ex going by that way. Well, what the hell was Andy doing back there? He doesn't live back there. He goes back there. Then he sees, like later on, all three of those vehicles leave out of the holler together. So that would have been, and he said, by the way, he said, Andy is on camera back there in the holler the day Summer went missing. He said he knows for a fact there was camera footage because stuff was getting stolen. Like silly stuff was getting stolen, like their, decorations and stuff like that. So somebody put up cameras on Ben Hill. Think around that Andy is on camera. They know all who was in and out of that holler that day. And I mean, he's like, I am certain 100% Andy was in there, and he was there. I'm obviously not going to say anything I feel like would interfere with the case or anything Fred asked me not to say. I don't even know if it would really interfere, but still, I don't know. The last thing I heard was about Andy being on camera. Did you hear that? Did you hear that Andy was seen? Did you hear me say that Andy left out of the holler with the truck and the car? Like those people left out with Andy? The ones that Fred saw. I don't know. He met up with somebody at the end of the holler, and what I was saying is that the timing is very odd, because it would have been around the time that Candace got back from taking her mother to, her doctor. So it would have been right around that time. Property. Okay, but to his property. And then he was working on something at the end of this driveway, right? And then he thought the guy was going to go back there and turn around, but then he didn't. He just sat back there, and Fred thought that the truck was waiting for him to get out or pull out, but he never moved. And then that girl with the car came by him. After he went, when he left, okay, so he left to go to his mom's. It was kind of a confusing story. He left to his mom's, which is just a couple houses up. This is what I remember, but I have it recorded. So, I mean, it sounds similar to what it sounds very similar to what I was told. I don't remember the Wells driveway thing. Because this story with the silver car, what silver car? I don't know the silver car. Which one's okay? So which one are you saying is not true, and which one are you saying is true? I don't know which one's the first one. I'm just talking about one story, so I'm trying to think what you mean by two different stories. Can you? I think that he said the stage tiger sounds like he knows what he's talking about, so that's the only reason why I'm. Because a lot of what he's saying sounds If you can click that link and just make sure you don't have close out everything on your phone or your device after you click the link, besides the window that you're going to be. It could be me repeating something wrong too, honestly. Or Stay Tiger or whatever he was. Not. I see other people trying to come up. I just need I want him to come up by himself right now.
Her mic unmuted.
Okay, can you hear me now? Oh my god. I don't think they can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, all right. I have Ziggy on the line.
Okay, everybody go ahead and pound that like button for me real hard, and let's get this shoved up through the algorithm since we've got some new Fred Hill stuff here. And Ziggy and Lady CG's been working hard to try to get this out here, so smack that thumbs up for him.
He's heard the things people have said, and he said, doesn't make him too happy. I said, that's really like Jodisue's doing. Like, for the most part, like, in my opinion, like, I was going to say about the bone thing. He brought that up. He said about the bones, like, I heard, I think it's him that brought that up. Because I told him, he brought that up. He said about the bones. It's like, I heard, I think it's him that brought that up. Because I told him that Jodisue had told people that, he was kind of playing a trick on me, and that's what, like, a lot of people would think. He's like, I didn't even know you were coming. I'm like, I know, but maybe they thought maybe you had set it up for the other group, and I told him how Jodisue said it was Fred talk. Like, he's just, and he had mentioned that, and then I said, also, she said that you're a country boy and that you would know what animal bones look like. Okay, and he made a good point because it's true. I remember the bones, like, many of them were smashed up, and I remember him even saying that he knows that some of them for sure are animal bone, but he's like, he didn't know about all of them, because think about, like, if you're going to try to hide, like, human bones, like, it would, I feel like a good way to disguise it would be, to smash them up with some animal, or, put some animal bones in with them. I don't know, like some bigger animal bones, then smash up the human bones, and then you're like, oh, it's just, animal bones. He said that they did come and collect those, and that TBI, I guess he said something about TBI, there's a branch of TBI at Hawkins County or something, I don't know, it works at TBI, that works in TBI that is at the Hawkins County, because he said that they were out there the night. I was like, TBI? It's like, yeah, somebody from the Hawkins County or something, their office isn't, I don't know, do you know anything about that?
No, I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
I could probably be, like, totally butchering how you said it, but also said that prostitution ring, because I said it seems like so unbelievable that somebody would have a sign up, and I said that just he said that was true. He said Orville Doolin was the one that shut it down, and so he's passed now, but he said I go in and there was actually a sign, and he said yeah. I'm like, well, and I, like, mentioned how Don had supposedly held a sign about when he was selling his baby, his son, which guess, like, oh, I guess he swears that that's true. That they were doing that they were selling, certain acts. I don't know who, but, like, who the girls were. He's mentioned that Andy Paul name again, and I said, I told him I'm trying to find out who that is. I guess, are you sure it's not Anthony Paul? Because I couldn't find it. He said that this Andy Paul rented a place, like, put a camper over there by, where Don and his ex-wife used to stay, that one little house down there by what was on Beach Creek, I think. He said that Andy Paul had a camper there that he was, like, paying Don to be able to set there, and he said Fred said that this Andy Paul character is an SO. I don't know. I asked him, is he actually registered, or are you just saying that because this guy, I guess he somehow he slipped some type of drug to Fred's daughter, and she's only 13, and I guess because of it, this guy was so scared of what Fred was going to do with these, because he found out about it. Fred had found out about this guy, like, took off, like, had left, like, right like the next morning or something and didn't come back. But I really like to find out who this Andy Paul is. And
you remember on the old Google photos, there used to be a camper that sat down there.
Right. And so I don't know. I asked him, is he actually registered, or are you just saying that because this guy, you know, I guess he somehow he slipped some type of drug to Fred's daughter, and she's only 13, and
So a camper there. So that's entirely, you know, possible that somebody lived there. Now, as far as having a sign up for advertising that, I don't, you know, I mean, hell, you never know. You never know in Beach Creek. It's very possible.
Seems unbelievable, but and I didn't talk to him about the Rose Blythe thing, but I did his wife, and she's like, I could have sworn she lived down here for a little bit, but you know, at times, because I talked to his wife first, and then when he wasn't there, and I came back later and I talked to him, and she was inside for most of the time, and they both told a story without any type of, you know, me like bringing it up, but about how Andy and Jodisue had lived in these cloud apartments, I guess in Kingsport.
Yep.
I guess, and they had to basically tear down the apartment that they lived in because it was so bad, like it was so
full of. Andy Bernard has got a permanent ban from any Kingsport Housing Authority property. Permanent ban.
Yeah, they had to completely tear, because I just feel like, you know, maybe Jodisue was sitting down in that truck because I feel like she was waiting for Candace to get back.
And Chad, I'm just trying to stay really focused with Ziggy and the conversation here. Let's see.
Something about, there's a cemetery out there?
Well, we're going to find out.
He told me, he was on the phone with me, and he mentioned that he was over at a cemetery where there was a church on Light Road. He mentioned that to me in a phone call. He said he said that he was driving by or over by the cemetery on Light Road. Something about some building. I don't know. It was in the call. I have it recorded. And he said a red truck passed, and that he followed the red truck or something like that. He said he saw a truck, but yeah, he mentioned something about Light Road. And when I was on a phone call with him, I just thought it was real weird because he mentioned cemetery. I'm like, what the hell is he doing over there? So this could be, you could be onto something. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that just like shocked me that you mentioned Light Road. I'm like sitting here thinking, wait, tell me he's not going to say Light. Tell me he's not going to say Light.
Light Hollow Road, and then there's Light Road. Light Hollow Road is the road that Frank Light lives on. They went up, I think the PIs actually set it up, and Cam told them where it was at or whatever. But anyway, nobody went out there with Nita Diver, not the PIs or Cam and Allie. So Nita Diver goes out there to go search this pond, and they come up to the end of the road, and here's this church. And then there's an old building there, which I know the man's name, but I'm not going to put it out there. He's dead, but I know his son's name, and I'm not going to put that out there yet, because we're wondering if he's the guy that gave Frank the alibi, because when Nita Diver got up there, Frank Light came out of that trailer that was sitting up behind the church, drunk, raising hell, telling them to all fuck off and get the fuck out of there. Cam, and was like, hell, you didn't tell me fucking Frank Light was going to be up here. So what we're figuring is that guy that Frank was up there getting drunk with right up the road from where Frank's supposed to be living with his daddy, if he was up there getting drunk with that guy, and that guy is the one that gave Frank the alibi for cleaning out a fence row behind this church where his trailer is. Wouldn't that just be convenient for a drinking buddy to give you an alibi? Light Holler. He was here all day cleaning out the fence row. Damn sure awful defensive and belligerent when Nita Diver came up there and wanted to. Now, as far as I But it's plain as day, and you can see, like I said, I wish I could blow it up, but right at the very bottom in small print, it says the House of Prayer Church, 872 Light Hollow Road, Rogersville, Tennessee, 37857. This person that lives in Beech Creek, it's all the way down at the end of Light Hollow Road, and there is an old house there, which was the home place of the guy in the church. He died, and his son now owns it. And there's a trailer back behind the old home place where this other gentleman, who will remain nameless right now until we can figure out who the hell he is, if he's the one that supplied Frank Light with his alibi for the 15th of June, 2021. Need a diver that Frank Light was up there at the trailer at that church. And he was drunk and belligerent to anybody who was wanting to help search. I haven't even Google mapped it. I just now, we were talking about it earlier today, me and Cam and Chasing, because of this information that I got from some people that I know down there. So we were going over all this stuff because we had been looking into Mount Carmel Baptist Church and Solomon's Temple, which are on Beech Creek, because that's the one everybody keeps talking about. And what the tying factor was into all of the people, because, you know, in that video that Jodisue does where she says, you know, we own all the property down there, not just a little bit. We own most of Beech Creek. And even though it's split up into different parcels and have different names, Michelle After Dark started doing, she played that video clip of Jodisue saying all that. And Light's also an RSO, and he's not supposed to have internet either. But I'm going to and say that he has social media actively. The question, who gave Frank his alibi for June 15th? Why does an RSO know that he's got internet? The lead detective said that they have went through reams of electronic data and all social media from everybody that was connected to the wells. Now, does that include Frank Light? Does that include the RSOs around there? Does Hall have access to active social media accounts? Drove to a church when Summer went missing. She most certainly did, Cassie Roku. There would be digging at the fence. Dixie and Tennessee Mountains, are they related to the Brits too? Just wondering. Well, the Brits are from Florida, but Crystal Spencer is related to the Brits by marriage.
She's saying, like, you know, unless, I mean, was Summer's head shaved at any other time? If not, that's like another, like, she said when they went and picked up that truck, Summer's head was shaved. She said, I thought it was one of the boys.
Wow.
Candace told her that she's like, yeah, I'm pregnant. Because, you know, she said she looked at her belly like, she said she looked like she was going to have her baby any day. Screenshot of.
Yeah, definitely.
I was reading what we were talking about because it's interesting. I'm seeing if I find anything like similar to what you're talking about.
Just got another picture of, and that was from, I can't say their name, When Evil Entered. Thank you for that picture there. I've got to check and do a quick comparison of that photo right there. That was out traveling southwest on Beech Creek from Sullivan County line thank you for that email too. Yeah, I'm definitely going to look at that. Somebody just sent me a screenshot. Terror saying that she's getting ready to have. This person asked, how many grandkids do you have? And Candace Harrer replies, 10, and one arrives the end of August.
What year was that?
So Dawn, I don't know. I don't have, well, hang on. I've got more pictures. That's just the first one I got to. You know, Grandma has got another daughter up in Wisconsin or wherever. So it could be her that was getting ready to have another baby, not Candace getting ready to have another baby in August.
I wonder if Allie would know if Candace was pregnant. Like, their friendship ended. I don't know. If Candace was pregnant, she might not have known because she wouldn't have been showing at that time.
The thing about really a understanding from any of them, you know, even from, you know, Hunter talking about, because I think somebody asked Hunter at one time when his mom and dad, or when his mom and Candace had their they're falling out, and then Allie says, you know, a different time, and Candace says a different time. Jose says it. I mean, you can never really narrow it down.
Used to drive her to places and do, like he was her bodyguard and do private dances, like escorting. Really bad reputation I won't even use the word. It'd be really offensive, but I guess this would have been, I don't think it was any time real recent, but I can't remember exactly. Probably, I want to say 10 years ago, but work, whatever you would call it.
Right. Freelance. Andy would drive her.
The back page, I learned about that one because I guess AB put me on back page.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Gosh.
Oh, man. Like Craigslist or something, or what's the other? The back page, I learned about that one because I guess AB put me on back page.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Gosh.
Oh, man. AB, he's just hilarious, you know, so. I was like, whatever. I don't know. That's what people were saying he did anyways, but. Man, maybe he was, you know, there might be something to that. It would be crazy if it all, like, connected. Let's see.
Well, I mean, they keep saying it's, you know, goes deeper than what we realize, and it's bigger than what we think, and you know the more digging and things are starting to really, well, just like tonight. I mean, they're clicking back to phone calls that you had, conversations that, text messages that you had, people sending me emails right now, plus the person that, you know,
remember, I had taken some notes because I was going to bring up a few things and I didn't want to interrupt. And I'm sorry that I interrupted you when you were trying to talk about the church, but something, I mean, that just really, like, it gave me goosebumps because it reminded me of that. I'm like, oh my God. Maybe it reminded me of that. I'm like, oh my God. Maybe Dawn was meeting Frank Light over there or something. I just felt like there was something. I originally thought maybe like I thought maybe like she was buried around there, but now you're mentioning like Frank Light hanging out around there. Like, man, maybe he was, you know, there might be something to that. It would be crazy if it all like connected. Let's see.
Well, I mean, they keep saying it's, you know, goes deeper than what we realize, and it's bigger than what we think, and you know
Yeah.
the more digging and things are starting to really, well, just like tonight. I mean, they're clicking back to phone calls that you had, conversations that, text messages that you had, people sending me emails right now, plus the person that, you know, helps me out with a lot of stuff, especially concerning this specific topic. And then you talking to Fred again 5 months later and confirming stuff like the, you know, they're ratting the people out on the drug bust. And, you know, here we got the thing about Candace, you know, and other babies again. Here we've got Andy still on that road again. None of that's changing in 5 months.
The red truck. Like, what is up with that? What is this? Where was the red truck seen again?
Well, nobody ever said, and especially if you listen to that press conference that the TBI had the other day, they don't know what time of the day it was, and they said something about locals that travel the same roads every day can get confused about, you know, what day it was and the time that they saw it. Because he even said they would like to be able to put the red truck to bed, but they've not been able to for whatever reason, you know.
And
so it's still in play, but I find that extremely odd from Fred Hill explaining that to you about that truck coming down to the end of the road and parking like he was waiting for Fred to go ahead and pull on out. And that guy just sitting there, which he can't recall who it was, but he knew for sure that it was Andy that came down there. And then they followed each other out after a while.
And there was that one car too with the young girl. Another vehicle.
And 5 months later, for that not to change, that's sticking in his head for a reason. And he even told you, you know, that's the one thing that's got him stuck. About everything that he remembers on that day, he can't make that part work. Allegedly, that Candace was actually in that vehicle. They went up there to Ben Hill Road to get some stuff out of the house. And allegedly, Grandis has pulled the camper out of there. Now, I don't know. This is all allegedly, but you know, this things that we've got to look into. But yeah, supposedly when JLR pulled out of that road and was following those vehicles that had the canoe on top, he got the license plate and ran it, and it came back to Candace. And he was allegedly, he didn't even know that he was following Candace at that time. He didn't have a clue that Candace was even in that vehicle until he had time to run the plates or whatever, and then was like, oh wow, you know. But again, that is completely all alleged.
What's the story with that yellow Xterra? What's the story? Was it Dudley that had a yellow Xterra? And wasn't there pictures of a yellow Xterra and Dawn and Candace's in some of the pictures on the property?
Yes, there was a yellow Xterra up there. Supposedly that was Dudley's
situation, but more so Fred, because Fred his family has deep roots in Beach Creek. And she's not originally from the area, but she's been there since 2007. Let's see. There's a lot. He mentioned something about and I can't see the comments at all, guys. So, at all. He mentioned that Rick Crawford, and I just looked him up, and he looks really familiar. I don't know, it's crazy story, but supposedly he was saying that Dawn told him that Summer, this is horrible, that has some type of religious Summer being missing has some type of religious ties. It was really creepy. Fred also claims that there was like a wood pile at the bottom of the driveway that was not there the day Summer went missing. That was there the next day, but I don't know. I think he might be mistaken there. I don't know. I don't know if he's saying the bottom of the driveway, if it was a little further up. The way he was talking, it was like you could see it from Ben Hill Road. But woodpile, and under that woodpile, that kind of creeped me out. Like, I don't know. He said that woodpile was not there the day Summer went missing. I do remember them getting a delivery of wood, but that was later on. He's saying that this was the day after. I guess we'll have to pay attention when we listen to the recording. What he was saying. If there used to be no stairs to the basement area, maybe that's something I should ask. I don't know if Scott would know.
I remember that being mentioned. They said that Dawn had to build the stairs. I think it was Jose. Because remember when he said he was walking down, the nails would get caught on his coat. And then Dawn said, or Candace said, like, oh yeah, we built those steps ourselves.
Under Crime Talk sent me a message that you were wanting me over on your stream. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. She must have made it home all right. And
of his issues, he admitted to drug use. He's very, very honest. To me, he seems very honest. He doesn't just like he doesn't just say like he admits to that type of stuff. So
right.
So I told him, I'm like, well, you don't look high. They don't drink. Okay, I know that they don't drink, but and according to supposedly his wife smokes weed, but for the most part,
right.
But I was like, yeah, at all. I was like, well, he goes, well, you've been doing it for 30 years, like. It doesn't really affect you at all. I'm just using it to be normal. He said he's PhD. If he doesn't do anything, he can't sleep. So that's true. I know it sounds ridiculous to some, but it does to those who have ADHD. That kind of stuff slows them down. That's why a lot of people who have ADHD get addicted to those type of substances.
Right.
I mean, honestly, he seems it seems like every person connected to this case, is just liars. I mean, I guess birds of a feather flock together, so that makes sense, but man.
Not Fred. He's telling all the business.
Yeah, I thought at first, like, when I pulled up and I saw him, he's like, because he said he was taking pictures of my license plate because he was like on my ass, like, when I pulled into the holler, and it kind of freaked me out because it was dark, and I was by myself. I went out there by myself. I mean, that's how like, much the dude scares me. It's like zero. I mean, just, but I know that I do notice, though, that other people are more scared of, like, when Jennifer went out there with me, she seemed, more nervous, even, she seemed, so maybe it's just me.
On things. The only time that I speak about is when somebody has directly done something to me, right? As far as Fred, some of that is true. Absolutely, some of that is true, but a lot of it's not. And so that's why, you know what I mean? Like, some of it can be backed up, some of it can't, and some of it can be disproven.
And we need to find out who this preacher Orville is that he was speaking of, so we could get more collaboration.
Well, I got a funny story about Fred.
Okay, let's.
Road, homie D was with me. Jennifer wasn't, and I was talking to the neighborhood people at the end of the road, at the end of Ben Hill. And earlier in the conversation, I was asking them, like, where the nearest store was. Well, I know it's the dollar store pretty much, but I was asking where I was like saying I was trying to get a lay of the land and where stuff's at and everything. In the conversation, the old man's on the porch is like, you want to know where the store is?
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah. Then he knows.
Yes.
Oh, I can say it? Can I say it?
Go ahead, bro.
No,
All
I
right,
remember you telling the story. Yeah.
Yeah, he points over at Fred's house and he says, the store's right over there. He said, anything you need. And I'm like, where, the house? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah,
I got
it all.
I got it on video. I'm not talking smack. That's the truth.
Yeah. That's a one-stop shop.
I looked up his record though. I couldn't find any. Surprisingly, he doesn't have.
You want to know why? You want to know why, beautiful? Because he's good at it.
I guess.
I don't find a lot of. I don't put a lot of stock in these guys that say, I just came home from doing 27 years flat for selling drugs. No, you was trying to sell drugs. You wasn't good at it. Them cats that can sell drugs 20 years and never get caught up. That's really smart business.
He does drugs because I know he does drugs. He pretty much admitted to me, and I'm not talking about weed. I'm talking about like harder drugs, like because he was talking about how
narcotics.
How Don I think meth is probably his DOC. I think he probably does crack too with Don sometimes because he talked about how Don would come bring it over or cocaine. I don't know which form it was in, but Don would bring it over and he would offer it to Fred, and Fred said he wouldn't partake, but I don't believe that because why would he's lived there forever. Why would Don come over there with something like that?
Well, because I'll tell you,
you know what I mean? Unless
even think about like if my friend doesn't drink, I don't bring whiskey to his house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, he doesn't want to just sit there and admit to being. He joked about supposedly being this like big meth dealer and stuff like that. And of course, he's not going to admit that stuff. So,
dude, I saw them, dude.
Some of them.
I saw Fred too. Fred waved at us. I saw him.
He looks like. He definitely is reminiscent of like the Hills Have Eyes like movie. If you look at him, but he's actually really nice. Like I wish other people would go talk to him so that people, when people say, "Oh, he lied about so much stuff," and are saying like such negative things about him and like act like he's playing tricks, you understand that Jodisue is the one that put out that stuff, like wanted people to believe that he was lying. My thing though, I did notice that discrepancy. That is
isn't he one a meth head, 2 a meth dealer, and 3 schizophrenic?
No. He does look. I'm sure
not
he
schizophrenic.
does.
You don't know what.
Yeah, but that's what I was led to believe.
I know because that's what Dawn said.
No, Jodisue told me.
Oh yeah, he probably does do. I'm sure he didn't look high then because I paid attention to his pupils and I kind of tried to see if I could smell alcohol, and I don't drink. I haven't drank for a few years, so I smell it like right away. And he wasn't drunk. The second time I went there, he was sleeping, and his came to the door, and I said, "Oh, I'll come back." She's like, "Oh no, it's okay. He's gonna get up." I'm like, "Well, okay." And he came up.
You talked to him twice too, 2 days
Yeah,
in a row,
and
which was really smart, right? To ask him the same questions,
right? That's what I was doing. Go on for days, and then they'll have some days off or whatever.
So,
yeah, but them days off, they don't do nothing but sleep.
That's true.
Okay, hold on. I have a question.
In the bed, sleep.
How do you drive by somebody?
That's why I wish I would have got the whole first interview. I wish it would have been recorded, like only people. And he just happened to be out in his yard. And I was just driving kind of slow, and he just waved to me. He was like real friendly and just waved to me. So I just like stopped because he made the first, gesture. And so I was like, okay, I'll stop. He seems friendly enough.
Tragedy pants. It's hard.